Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about season 3, episode 1 of HBO Max's Titans, entitled Barbara Gordon. One thing I've noticed about this show, and they've done this through historically throughout the previous 2 seasons, it feels like the title never quite corresponds with the most important thing of the episode. Like I think it's like a subversion tactic. It's an unimaginative one, but this episode we are introduced to Barbara Gordon, played by Savannah Welch. She is in her wheelchair, so this is post her run-in with the Joker, which she references in a kind of like a throwaway line with Dick, but not the biggest, not the most important thing that happens in this episode. So the episode essentially opens with the death of Jason Todd. He goes against what he is told to do by Bruce, and he decides to go after the Joker, and the Joker beats him to death with a crowbar. Before he leaves, though, he huffs some sort of chemical via like a oxygen mask. No, it was like an oxygen mask combined with like an inhaler, where you like push down kind of like an inhaler, and then the whatever this chemical is goes into his body. His pupils dilated or whatever, and he's like, yeah, let's fucking go. And he goes out there and he gets his ass beat. One thing I'm gonna say is I will be doing spoilers for the episode, as far as like, you know, I'll talk about things that happen in the episode. But what I'm not gonna do is go into what I think could be potential spoilers for the rest of the season, based upon just the direction of where this fairly well-known comic storyline is going. It's my hope that the show will subvert that to some degree and will give us something new and imaginative. But the thing with this, though, is that this isn't just I have a pretty good idea of where this is going already after episode 1. And that's not because I'm just like some fucking like person who can just, read into, the information that they give me in an episode and go, oh, I got this. I mean, I am pretty fucking good at that, but that's not why. I know, because I know what's going to happen, because I have foresight of what happens in the comics. And, but the problem here isn't following a comic book storyline, right? Shows do this all the time. They follow pretty popular storylines from the comics. They might make some changes or whatever, but it's product that you can mine already. You already have a wealth of stories that exist. You could choose one, make whatever changes to it you please, and put it out there. But my problem with this is that this is predictable from in a general sense. Like, I already feel like I've only watched the first episode so far. I'm gonna watch the second episode probably after I finish this video, and the second episode's titled Red Hood. So I already have an idea of where this is going. I feel like viewers of the show who have no idea about what this comic book storyline might be tied to or what it has to do with, I feel like can probably watch the second episode and already have an idea and already correctly guess where this is going, because it's a very predictable style of storytelling, and it's been prevalent particularly lately with TV shows doing these kind of like whodunit kind of, I got a stray hair going there, these whodunit kind of mysteries where it's like, okay, something happens, now we got to figure out who did it. That's been really popular lately, and it looks like this season is going to capitalize off of the proper popularity of these whodunit kind of things, and then or who is it kind of things, like who is this person, and it's a pretty predictable path to take. So I'm hoping the show will subvert that. But this show, I did a video for kind of like reviewing, I guess, the show as a whole after season 2. Fairly early in my run of doing videos on this channel, and I still feel, even after watching the first episode, I kind of feel the same way that I did after the first 2 seasons, which is like, this show really relies upon the novelty of having comic book characters in a very dark setting where they're dropping F-bombs every few minutes, to side note, to the point where I feel like they force it, particularly with Jason. They really force the profanity, which I don't care about when it feels natural, but when it feels like you're overdoing it because you feel like, oh, it's gonna keep this shock value up of having Robin say fuck this, fuck that over and over. With like I don't care about that. But like, it's cool in that those first couple episodes, or maybe even that first season. I remember when DC Universe announced this show, and when they put that trailer out, it's like a red band trailer, and at the end of it, you have Dick going "fuck Batman" or something like that, and you have all kinds of violence. You think like, oh, this ain't the fucking Teen Titans. Like, this is some real shit right here. And this show relies on that a lot. The novelty of the darkness, the profanity, the violence. It wants you to kind of, I think, feel that the most when you watch this show. But when you take that away, when you take away that novelty of the swearing and the violence, what you're left with is a show that's very mediocrely written. I know mediocrely is not a word, but the writing on this show is incredibly mediocre. I wouldn't call it bad, but it's very average. And when you strip away the novelty and you're left with the mediocre writing, it really stands out. And I was hoping that season 3, we've kind of moved from DC Universe onto HBO Max. I know some of you might have watched it on HBO Max, but it started out on DC Universe. And I don't know, I haven't done much research on the show in between seasons 2 and 3, but it was just my hope that coming to HBO Max as your home, and not just like, oh, it was on DC Universe and now we're just migrating it onto HBO Max. Like, with this season being made while it was on HBO Max, it was my hope that they would maybe work on some of those things. But after this first episode, it looks like they didn't give a shit about changing this fucking show at all. The writing is still, again, aggressively mediocre. And people say, oh, the writing is bad on this show. Or the writing, but what does that mean, right? You probably hear a lot of people, and they probably sound like they're, some sophisticated fucking reviewer, like they got a grasp on things, right? And they're like, oh, the writing here, and push up their fucking monocle and shit. Oh, the writing is terrible on the show. But what does that mean, right? So I'm going to give examples of what I mean when I say that the writing is terrible on this show. And if you want examples of what I mean when I say the writing is great on the show, watch my videos for FX's Dave. They've been banging these past 10 weeks. The videos have been doing great. Shout out to all you guys who might be watching this, who were fucking with me on the Dave videos. I appreciate you. Continue to hang out. I think you'll probably enjoy me shitting on shows more than you'll enjoy me worshiping them. That's why the avatar for this channel is of me shouting, because I'm more known for like shitting on stuff than I am praising it. But anyway, what I'm saying about the writing here, what I mean when I say bad writing is, well, there's a few things that this show does that I think is not good, or in this case, I've been calling it mediocre. I don't want to call it bad. I don't think it's bad, but the dialogue, you get a lot of really corny lines on this show. And for a show that tries to present itself as something much darker and serious than what you're accustomed to, like on the CW, the lines aren't any better. Like, you have a line in this episode where, like, Starfire, I don't know, does some shit with fire. They have this whole scene. It's like the second scene of the episode. It's before the title credits or just after. And it's just the team just fighting some robbers or whatever. It doesn't matter. At least I don't think it will. But it's just an opportunity for them to showcase the main characters. Like, hey, look who's here. Look what they can do. Look at them working as a team, yada, yada, yada. But Corey does something, and she goes, yeah, I know, I'm hot. And it's like, oh, a play on the word hot. Like, that's a little cringe. Like, okay, you could have done a little better than that. But and there's another line where they come up on like a body where the head is like wrapped in like cling wrap, saran wrap, whatever you want to call it, and a cop there says like he's wrapped in cellophane like last night's leftovers, and I thought that was corny. But the worst line, and it's not even this episode, it's in the trailer for this season, there's some line where Hank says something like, if you're gonna hawk, I'm gonna dove. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you guys are not even trying to write good lines for this show. Like, what a shitty fucking line, man. But the dialogue kind of continues to be unimpressive for me by and large. It's very, very by the books. Like, nothing really below the surface kind of stuff. It's just very generic characters explaining what's happening as opposed to showing it or alluding to it. Example, there's a moment where for some reason Gar is watching something on his computer, but like monologuing about Rachel, and he keeps looking like as if Rachel's in the room with him, and he just monologues the what we needed to find out in a different way. So like we don't right prior to that scene, I'm wondering like, oh, where's Rachel up? What's Rachel up to? What's she doing? Of course, the primary way to do this is you could have just shown what Rachel was doing, but or maybe just have a throwaway line like we'll deal with Rachel when she comes back from trying to save Donna or bring Donna back to life or something like that. But they have Gar just like narrate what's going on with Rachel, and it comes off weird because it's like he's talking to himself, which both of those things are fine on their own. Like a character talking to themselves out loud, I'm cool with that. A character kind of I don't know, I guess like explaining what happened to someone, I'm kind of cool with that. But like the monologuing combined with that being like the refresher that we get on Rachel, I just thought that was a really bad choice to have him sitting there so like talking to the audience almost, but like but actually talking out loud to himself within the context of the show. I don't know. I just thought that was a really poor decision, and that was such a tacky way of updating us on what's going on with Rachel. And then the thing that I hated the most about the writing in this episode is, so like I mentioned at the top, we see Jason huff this chemical or whatever before he decides he's gonna go get his ass beat by the Joker, and immediately Dick. When he arrives in Gotham, he sees this chemistry book, and he's like, the fuck? Jason doesn't fucking read chemistry books. Like, what? And I thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, this not the Jason Todd I've seen on this show, just reading fucking chemistry books. Like, what's going on here? So Dick, the show paints Dick as knowledgeable of his friend's personality. Like, he knows what's going on. He's like, wait a minute, why would Jason be reading a chemistry book? Then he goes to fucking Batman and Batgirl, and they're just like, yeah, it's nothing, whatever. Like, and you can make Dick Grayson smart without making Batman stupid. And that's stupid to have Batman and Batgirl, both very intellectual minds, see that the Jason Todd that we've seen on this show, who's like a fucking douchebag, like reading a chemistry book and dismiss it. Like you don't need to have Batman and Batgirl be that stupid to make Dick look smart. Dick's smart by just figuring that out. Like, just on the plain face of it. Dick sees this book, he's like, this isn't right. Yes, that's true, that's not right. Good idea, Dick. Look into that. And then we agree with Dick as an audience and everyone's smart. But instead, just to make Dick look a little bit smarter, let's make Batman look stupid. Why would you do that? So that's the kind of stuff that I don't ever like, when characters are dumbed down for the purposes of like furthering the plot, or in this case, I believe to be furthering, I guess, our perception of Dick. Like, I'm assuming they want us to look at Dick as like a future, like a legitimate leader. Which, I mean, he's already the leader of this team, but I think they want to build him up as a leader a little bit more. The episode ends with Bruce killing the Joker, and he essentially tells Dick to be a better Batman than he was. So they're painting out the idea that Dick's going to take an even stronger position within this leadership. You don't need to make Batman look dumb to build that up. And that bothered me quite a bit. But I still feel like this show, again, is mediocre as far as writing, when you have the monologuing, the dumbing characters down for the furthering of plot or the furthering of character, the bad lines, the tacky lines, like that kind of stuff. That's what I mean when I say bad writing. I shouldn't be taken out of the episode with that kind of thing, where it's like I gotta roll my eyes like, oh, that's a bad line, or why would Gar just like narrate everything that's going on with Rachel when you could just show us that? Like, just show us. Like, just I don't know. I guess they want to have, I guess maybe have Rachel come back as some big moment or something like that, which doesn't work if you show her in the first episode. But I'd rather you just show her in the first episode and don't give me some big return for a character that I'm only moderately interested in, when you instead choose to just have a character just monologue what's going on as if he's talking to himself out loud. Was just like, okay, I don't know, bad decision. Anyway, couple of notes that I have on this episode. If you haven't picked up by now, I didn't think this was a very good I didn't think it was a very good episode. I'm gonna watch these first 3 that have been released probably today. I'm gonna drop this video today. Saying this video today doesn't mean shit because I don't know when you're watching it. But today, August 16th, I'm gonna drop this video today. I'll drop episode 2 on the 17th and episode 3 on the 18th. And then at that point, I'll decide if this is something I want to cover week to week for the duration of the season, or if I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, I'm out. I'll probably still watch the show. It's a little interesting, and I like to get my comic book shit in, so we'll see. But I don't know if I'm gonna watch the whole thing. But I'll make that decision after I finish these first 3 episodes. But that is the plan. But anyway, a couple of notes. We see a kid in this episode. He has a run-in with the police, delivering some carry-out food. Police kind of dicks to him. He goes back to what looks to be a family-owned restaurant. He references his father. I'm assuming the woman there is his mother. There's a kid there who I thought was his brother, but is actually his cousin. And we see like the relationship that he has with his family in this restaurant. And then that's where they learn, and we learn that Robin is dead, Jason is dead. And at the very end of the scene, the mother touches him on the shoulder and says, sorry about this, Tim, or something to that effect. So, again, to not try to spoil things for people who might not be familiar with the lore, I'm just going to say that they're not going to show... That scene felt out of place until she said his name was Tim. So then not now you kind of get an idea of, okay, I have an idea where this is going as well. So that's something to look out for in future episodes, what they're going to do with this kid. I noticed that Corey drinks Blanton's, which is a very popular bourbon amongst the bourbon lovers out there. Considered by most to be very overrated for its price, but it's still good. It's just tough to find, and if you find it, it's usually like ridiculously marked up. But she said it's something that Earth has over other planets. So I shudder to think what the quality of bourbon is on whatever fuck planet she's from. I forget. So yeah, but that's all I had. Again, I thought it was a standard Titans episode, mediocre, mildly entertaining. I hope that they're going to try to subvert some of the things that I expect that they're going to do. We'll figure that out over these next 3 episodes, and then we'll talk about them. So I'll see you guys then. Let me know in the comments what you thought. And until tomorrow for episode 2, peace.